I'll call the meeting to order at 5:46 p.m. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. Large print materials are available upon advance request.
I'm going up to the pharmacy.
Okay. If you would like either of these accommodations, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833. Also, the notice of non-discrimination rights and protections to beneficiaries with regard to the federal Title VI non-discrimination protections and the state non-discrimination protections is posted in the meeting room and is also available on the Old Colony Planning Council website. Please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 for more information. Thank you. Okay, if we're back to the agenda, I think next on the agenda would be roll call, Mary. It looks like Frank has been able to join us already, so that was quick.
He has. Thank you very much, Megan, for helping out. Actually, unmute yourself, Madam Chair. Becky Coletta, as she's sipping coffee, sorry.
Oh, here.
Frank Staffier.
Present.
Thank you, Frank. Valerie Massard.
Present.
Stephen Satisonio.
Present.
Sandy Wright.
Present.
And just for staff, we have Charles Kilmer, Brenda Robeson, Sean Noel, myself, and Megan Fournier. So there is a quorum.
Thank you, Mary. So next up, we have the July 24th, 2023 meeting minutes. Does anyone have any comments, or do we have a motion to accept those meeting minutes?
I'll make a suggestion that we accept the minutes as written by our secretary.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mary. Could we do it? We have to do a roll call since we're on Zoom.
We are Becky Coletta,
Yes.
Sandra Wright,
I will abstain because I don't see that I was in that meeting.
Stephen Satisonio,
Accept.
Frank Staffier,
Except,
Val Massard.
Accept.
Thank you. That is unanimous with one abstention.
Great. So now we have Brenda Robinson, who's going to present our January 2023 financials.
Can everybody hear me okay? I seem to be on here twice. I don't know why that is.
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, you're fine with me too.
Excuse me. Okay, financial reports. First up, at the end of January, we were in good financial condition with a 7.39% budget surplus. Statement of expenditures report shows total expenses for the month of $178,723.86. The cash position report shows income for the month of $254,266.96. Disbursements for the month were $235,071.10. The total cash available at month's end was $1,250,837.89. OPEB account had a gain of $42,269.99, bringing the ending balance in the OPEB account to $953,149.80.
You did like note that again, 42,000 gain.
Say that again?
No, just about the gain, that it was a big.
Okay. Okay.
Just wait till next month.
Budget resources report. Total receipts for the month of $254,266.96 brings the total year-to-date receipts to $2,434,144.80. The AAA report. The outstanding balance for AAA pass-through programs was $1,111,888.49. The outstanding balance for AAA admin and ombudsman programs was $220,583.27. This brings the total outstanding balance for all AAA programs at the end of January to $1,332,471.76. The voluntary transportation account beginning balance was $175,604.62. The restricted funds payments to volunteers was $733.76. Donations received are $583, bringing the ending balance in the fund to $175,453.86. ROM statement and activity. Balance at the beginning of the month was $175,570.96. Receipts in January were $7,850, bringing the total receipts at the end of January to $42,950. Expenses in January of $7,782.32 brings the total expenses in January to $49,049.32. The ending statement balance in January was $170,443.86.
If I could just do one quick pause on this. Over the last couple of months, we've done some things like get the back room ready for rental, but there's removal of junk. This has all been programmed for the budget for this current year. And we still have a couple other things that we're doing to improve the office. So still within budget, probably even under budget at this point, but I just wanted to pause. You'll probably see a couple other things over the next couple months.
Can I ask one question? Have we started to rent that room and receive rent?
We have,
Okay.
Okay, the budget spend down report. Page 1, total expenditures at the end of January were $1,263,585. I'm sorry, for January. The spend to date percentage rate at the end of January was 50.98%. The ideal percentage in the seventh month of the fiscal year would be 58.37. So at month's end, that gives us a 7.39% surplus. Page 2 and page 3 shows no changes. And then lastly is the list of combined accounts payables and cash transfers.
and just
In the
to remind,
financial report.
and thank you, Brenda, but if I could, Madam Chair, just to remind folks, the delegates and the committee. So when these checks are written, I do approve them, but then Sean, Noel, and or Brenda sends it to those that are signature. So it's Becky and I believe it's Val, just for their review before they're actually mailed. So the checks and balances are in place for this process.
And that does seem to be working from my perspective. So with that presentation and things being in good order, do we have a motion to accept the January financials?
Could I have a question if you can hear me?
I can
Yes,
hear.
we can, Frank. Thank you. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure when we get in the, Mary, when we get to making the budget up for next year, have we spoken to the people who are going to take the back room and keep it so that we know about what we'll be projecting for that account?
Yes, we have signed a lease for 2 years.
Okay,
And that we are receiving $2,000 a month in rent. They wanted it for 3 years, but I held off because I figured by our 3rd year, we're probably going to want more money. But at this point, it is also, they're sharing some of our Comcast and then also our custodial. And we just need to clarify in terms of the electricity bill. So, yes, we can expect, knowing I don't foresee any kind of expenses relating to the improvements of that back room.
okay,
So that is going to be clear revenue that's going to come to the OCPC ROM for ongoing maintenance and activities of this building.
that's all. Thank you very much, Mary. I just want to make sure that when we get ready to make the budget, we know what we're aiming at. That's all.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, then do we have a motion to accept the January financials?
I'll make a
Motion so
motion.
moved. Oh,
I'll second that then.
thank you.
Okay, roll call, Mary.
Becky Coletta,
Accept.
Steven Santusonio,
Accept.
Sandy Wright,
Accept.
Val Massard,
Accept.
and Frank Stappier.
Accept.
That's unanimous.
Great. So next on the agenda are fiscal policies. I don't know if we have an update as to where we are on developing the fiscal policies. I don't think we have anything ready yet, right?
We do not, as you know, that we had secured Doug Silvestri as a consultant to work with us. He has in fact done some work. But as you know, over the last couple of months between the audit, the ongoing audit, and then the audit consulting or the audit services, we just put it on hold. And we will start that up. But I want to be able to get the OPEB, which will be next following this, is I want to get the OPEB declaration of trust going and then bring the fiscal policies in right after that. So it can happen simultaneously. I just want to be able to bump those things up as a priority. So Doug is still ready to work with us. And the work that he's done so far has been really terrific.
Okay, so, and with the OPEB declaration of trust, we have that on our agenda just so we keep following it. But I think similarly, that's something that we'll probably have a little more information on next month.
We will, and for your purposes, I did reach out to attorney Matthew Feeney. He's on vacation. So because that was the next step. We don't really want to put everything into his basket because that was, there was a lot of, there would be a high invoice, I guess I would say, but we've been able to do some of the work ourselves. And then now he's just the idea is for him to just review what we're ready to go and then prepare us to take those, get ready for those votes that are going to be needed to select the committee.
Okay, great. So this may be the shortest
If I could, Madam Chair.
meeting on record, unless you're going to add to it, Mary.
No, the only other thing I really wanted to do is I did want Sean Noel to just talk a little bit about a process that we found out from a reliable source about how we can save some money on our electricity bill. So Sean, would you like to give an update, please?
Yeah, certainly. So it was brought to our attention that we might be overpaying for our electrical service, as there is, currently we obtain our electricity from National Grid. Not only do they deliver it, but they're also the source of the energy. And that is where I guess the opportunity lies for us to be able to shop and find different suppliers. National Grid would still be the delivery service, but we might be able to find a supplier. And so we were given some information, did some very basic research on it on Friday, and we are currently being charged 32 cents per kilowatt hour from National Grid. The different source that we talked of is called, I believe it's pronounced Zoom. It's XOOM, not Z, but I believe it's still pronounced Zoom. And they can provide the energy at 17 cents per kilowatt hour. So saving us 15 cents per kilowatt hour. For example, our usage was almost 4,000 kilowatt hours in the month of January. That would be approximately $600 in savings. So definitely something that I think, the organization should look into. There are a couple of caveats. We would need to sign a contract. So we would need to contract with that company for at least 12 months and up to 24. I would suggest, we contract for a year, see how the relationship works out. Then if we decide we want to extend, we can extend. There are also some early cancellation fees depending on, if we decide we want to cancel out of it early, there would be a $500 penalty per year. So if we were in a 2-year contract, it would be a $1,000 penalty if we decide to exit that contract early. Those are the very basic aspects of it at this point. I will do some more research on that over the next week, and certainly have some information to Mary and Brenda, Charlie, as well as the council members as needed.
Okay, I just think we should take a look at a couple suppliers. I know that terms can vary widely in terms of the per kilowatt pricing and the termination fees. Here in Pembroke, we have an aggregation program that the town hasn't entered into. I don't know if Brockton has an
They do
aggregation
not.
provider.
Already-
They do not,
already-
okay.
They do not yet anyway.
Okay.
Just-
Because what'll happen is National Grid will readjust its pricing,
Mhm.
you know, every 6 months. So sometimes you get locked in and it's always a, you know, are you going to get locked in and then all of a sudden National Grid will be down. So I just think it's worth checking a couple providers before we lock in. Frank, is that your hand up?
It is. Frank?
Frank, were you going to say something?
No, I was just, I was going to say that one of the things you got to be careful of, and I think you touched on it, Becky, is they're changing policy of when they can raise our rates. That has to be looked at too, because you're right. We could buy it at 17 cents today, and tomorrow it could be 55 cents. We need to know what leeway we have, you know, to protect ourselves too. And I would say that Sean has done a good job on that, but I think we should also be well aware of what their, you know, what their policy is on raising the rates. And like you said, somebody could lower their rates knowing that we're looking to move out too. So I think there's a lot to be looked at that, Becky.
Okay, thanks, Frank.
In doing the
Um,
basic search, just with Zoom, there did not seem to be any, again, it was once the contract was signed, that price was locked in. Now, as Becky said, again, we could be locked in for a year, and, you know, when the warmer weather comes around, all of a sudden, National Grid is charging 14 cents. So now we're paying more.
Yeah.
I don't think, at least from what I reviewed on the website, that there would be much risk in them raising the rates, because I do think we would be locked into that contract.
Okay.
But again, and looking at other brokers and other providers, that's another story. I haven't had the opportunity to look into any of that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sandy, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I just wanted to make you aware that National Grid goes up November 1st every year, and they go up May 1st. And the reason for that is it gets darker in November, so the lights go on earlier. And in May, the air conditioning pools and saunas and everything else come on during those times. It kind of balances out in the long run. And I know I monitor National Grid on a daily basis, and if you go into ISO, ISO New England .com, you can sort of watch the daily rates and what they go up. They've never been below what the other suppliers are. So it's something to think about. So even if they did go down a little bit, they're still going to go up in November and May every year.
Okay. Stephen, you have
Yeah,
your
I
hand
just had,
raised?
yeah, I just had a question. Like with an arrangement like that with, say, Zoom, just say hypothetically, if that relationship went south and or something happened to them, and where during the contract period they couldn't deliver electricity, would National Grid, who's the deliverer, like one delivers it, one provides it, I guess, would National Grid jump in and resume
Yes.
providing us electricity if something happened with that Zoom relationship?
My understanding is that these supply contracts, it's almost like the companies are buying and trading futures on energy prices. That they're providing the energy to National Grid at an aggregate level. And if they dropped out for any reason and couldn't provide it for any reason, you would drop back to National Grid.
Okay, all right, that's that. Thank you.
Sandy, did you have something different to say on that?
Yeah, so with that, National Grid, like many years ago, if anybody remembers New England Telephone, where they became a monopoly, National Grid has come under that same scrutiny type, where they had to sell off a portion of their supply, which was the usage. They'll always own the lines that go into houses. Nothing that'll ever change from that. If anything, your electricity goes out, National Grid takes care of it. If there's a disaster, it's still under National Grid. Nothing changes whatsoever. And the suppliers then picked up the portion of National Grid because they had to break that up. So they will be able to deliver the electricity no matter what, unless there's a disaster and everybody's out of electricity.
So that is our short meeting for tonight.
Okay, so more to come on the energy
Yes.
contract and reducing our energy costs by as much as $600 a month.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're in a position to take any action on that tonight.
No, and I think all I was looking for tonight, since it's really not formally on the agenda, I wanted just to start the preliminary discussions about what we're starting to do. On top of that, I've been meeting with managers. We're preparing budgets, starting with requests for capital budgets. I already have Right Technology working on an assessment of where we are with our IT, and that will all be presented as we get closer. Most likely more of the April meeting. And then for the March meeting, we're actually going to have Rockland Trust come in, present about the OPEB account and status of where that is. So that will
Okay,
be,
great.
they will come to the finance on Tuesday and then present again for the full council on Wednesday.
Okay,
That's all
great.
we have.
Thank you. With that said, now do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Thank
Second
you,
that.
Frank. Thanks, Stephen. Okay, guys, I assume it's all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So have a good night and we'll see each other tomorrow night.
Great, thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a
Thanks.
good night.
Good night.